Welcome into the Commanders Report. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today we got a great slate of Commanders news and rumors to cover right here on YouTube. First up, I'm going to go over a report from Adam Schefter from ESPN, who had some very interesting things about the Commanders thinking and the two quarterbacks that they were thinking between at the number 2 pick. It's probably not the two quarterbacks that you are thinking of here. Of course, Jayden Daniels is one of them. The other one surprised me a little bit. Then, according to a new report, Christian McCaffrey encouraged Adam Peters, his former assistant GM there in San Francisco, to draft Luke McCaffrey, his brother, early in the 2024 NFL Draft. I'll discuss McCaffrey's profile here and how he fits with the Commanders' offense. And then we'll finish up with some Brandon Coleman talk here. Where is he going to play? Is he going to play guard? Is he going to play tackle? I'll go over Adam Peters' comments on him, and I'll tell you where he's going to be playing on the offensive line, or at least hopefully heading into the 2024 season. So let's get things going right now on the Commanders Report. If you are ready for a new era of Commanders football, Dan Quinn, the head coach, Adam Peters, the GM, Jayden Daniels as the quarterback, all three are brand new for this football team. So if you're excited about it, you can't wait to get football going again here in Washington, type "Raise Hail" down there in the comment section. That is the new catchphrase for our Washington Commanders here. So let's get into the top story today, which is a report from Adam Schefter earlier this week, where he said that Drake Maye out of North Carolina wasn't even in the final consideration for the number 2 pick for the Washington Commanders. Now, of course, they went to his pro day, they brought him in for a top 30 visit, all these different things, but apparently the choice came down to Jayden Daniels and Michigan's J.J. McCarthy. Here's what Adam Schefter had to say on the Pat McAfee Show earlier this week. The two quarterbacks they, as in the Commanders, had in consideration at number 2 were Jayden Daniels and J.J. McCarthy. Maye wasn't even going number 2. He was going number 3 to New England all along. So listen, guys, this actually lines up pretty well with my evaluation of Drake Maye. And you guys will remember that I did a video on the channel back on April 9th, actually, where I was saying that Drake Maye's not a good fit here in Washington, all right? He needs a coach that's going to clean up his footwork and his throwing mechanics, and hopefully the accuracy, which was really bad there this past season with the Carolina Tar Heels there, was going to get better. And I didn't think Cliff Kingsbury was the right guy to get it done, okay? So I think that his lack of refinement mixed with the fact that the Commanders needed somebody to play right away, I think Maye needs to sit behind a veteran for a little bit. I'm a believer in Maye. I think he could be a star quarterback in the league, but I think he needs to go more like the Josh Allen, the Patrick Mahomes, the Lamar Jackson route, where it's going to take a little bit here for him to really get to that star type of status, and I'm just not sure Cliff Kingsbury was going to be the right guy to get him to that point. And I can say right now as well, guys, if the other quarterback was J.J. McCarthy at number 2, thank God the choice was Jayden Daniels. McCarthy, I think in the right situation can work out. I think he went to the right spot for him with the Minnesota Vikings. But if you're looking at the film between Jayden Daniels and what he was able to do last year and J.J. McCarthy there at Michigan, I think that the choice was pretty clear there. At least in my opinion, Jayden Daniels was the right call for Adam Peters and the Washington Commanders moving forward. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Did Washington make the right call at the quarterback position? Or would you rather have gone with Drake Maye or J.J. McCarthy or trade down for Michael Penix or whatever the case may be? Type yes or no down there in the comments section. Was Jayden Daniels the right pick for the Commanders? This will be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube will throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time, but give me a yes or a no down there in the comments. So now, did Adam Peters get peer pressured into taking Luke McCaffrey at number 100 overall? Well, he said in a recent interview, Peters did anyway, that Christian McCaffrey, of course, superstar running back that's currently with the San Francisco 49ers. Peters is coming to us as the former assistant GM of the Niners. Apparently, Christian encouraged Peters to take his brother Luke early in the 2024 NFL Draft. Now, this is what Peters had to say in a recent interview. I did get a little insight from his brother Christian. He's talking about there. I got a little encouragement from his brother. I didn't need it. I can tell you that right now. And now he's talking about Luke. Really taught himself how to be one of the best receivers in the country in the last 2 years. He's got size, he's got speed, he's got great movement skills, and I think he's only going to ascend. Now, I certainly hope that Luke McCaffrey ascends from where he was in college, but I disagree with the fact that he was one of the best receivers in college football the past 2 years, and that designation, and I wish I was as optimistic about McCaffrey and his game than Peters is at this point. Obviously, he believes in him, so I'm rooting for the kid. I really am, and he does provide some much-needed size to the room here with the Washington Commanders. He's 6'2", and he's ripped and all these different things, and he ran a good 40 time at 4.46. He had a decent shuttle and 3-cone time as well. So, listen, man, the testing numbers were pretty good. But based on my film analysis here of McCaffrey, he plays slow. He doesn't get out of his breaks very fast. He doesn't stop very quickly, which is something that's a little bit concerning as well. Now, obviously, he has the size you look for, and the Commanders were definitely looking for. He plays with good hands. I will give him that. He's tough over the middle of the field, and, he can play through contact and all these different things. And as a run blocker, he plays with good play strength, but overall, he's not the best and most refined run blocker, even at his size. The route running is definitely sloppy at this point, and you can tell that he just transitioned to this wide receiver position. He's a former quarterback, and some people think because he gets jammed outside so often against man coverage, he's probably going to be a slot only. So it's like, I would have rather gone with a guy like a Malik Washington or even a Troy Franklin at this point who is still available, right? Luke McCaffrey, was not the best receiver on the board at number 100. In my opinion, I think there were better options out there. And, it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if Christian McCaffrey did kind of, influence Adam Peters in that kind of direction to take McCaffrey with the number 100 overall pick. Now, on the bright side here, I don't want to completely crap on the young man here because I am honestly rooting for him. I do want him to do well. And he's clearly a hard worker. He comes from a family that obviously has a great pedigree and all these different things. And he does have an interesting physical profile. Now, if he can play at the speed that he was able to play at the combine and all those great testing numbers, then yeah, sure, let's do it, man. Big slot wide receiver, that would fit in well here in Washington. But with all the great options still available on the board for Adam Peters at that point, McCaffrey probably wasn't the pick that I would have made. Now let's shift from McCaffrey to somebody that they took earlier in the third round, which is Brandon Coleman. And coming up, I'm going to be telling you where I think he's going to be playing on the Commanders' offensive line heading into the 2024 season. But before we get into that, go ahead and get your very own Commanders ball cap from our friends at Fanatics. If you want to be rocking the Dan Quinn look, we all know his signature backwards hat look. If you want to be rocking that on Commanders game days this year, watching Jayden Daniels sling the rock, run the football, all these different things, it's going to be absolutely electric, by the way. Definitely going to be wearing my backwards Washington Commanders cap on Washington Commanders live watch parties this year. Those are going to be absolutely fun here. So make sure, go chatsports.com/DQ for a great price on this Commanders ball cap. And they also have a great selection of other Commanders ball caps there on the Fanatics website. So go to chatsports.com/DQ if you want to rock the Dan Quinn backwards hat look here in 2024. So now let's get into Brandon Coleman and where I expect him to play for the Washington Commanders here in 2024. And listen, it's not about me. It's about where Adam Peters and Dan Quinn see him as. And this is what Adam Peters had to say after taking him in round 3. Brandon Coleman's another team captain, and he really impressed us. We had him in here on a 30 visit. Really loved his story, and he's got over 1,600 snaps at tackle. He also played guard. We see him as a tackle, and we think he could be a really good tackle. He's really experienced. He's got heavy hands. He's a really good athlete. So we were really fortunate to get him where we got him. So listen, man, I think Brandon Coleman is very intriguing, but if you're going to be trusting him to start week 1 of his NFL career, that's dangerous, in my opinion, because last year, just based on his film alone, if you would have just taken his film from 2023, it's terrible, man. And, he was playing with an injury, so, keep that in mind. And his film in 2022 was a lot better. But if he plays in the National Football League like he did last year at TCU, oh boy, Jayden Daniels is going to be running for his life. His balance is all over the place. His hand placement's all over the place. It just wasn't good. Didn't play with good technique. Now you look here in terms of his relative athletic score as a guard, it's almost a perfect 10 out of 10. I mean, you look at the 40-yard dash time, the agility times, all these different things that he did at the combine. It's been really impressive to see what he's been able to do. His arm length is really good as well at over 34.5 inches. So that's definitely what you look for a future left tackle. He's got the movement ability. He's got the athleticism, got the arm length. This guy could be a franchise left tackle, but he could also be a complete dud, and he could be a dud right from the start and put Jayden Daniels, this franchise's new number 1 quarterback, in jeopardy. And that scares the living crap out of me, man. So listen, if he starts at left tackle, you're definitely hoping that he develops, especially over this next 2 to 3 year stretch. But, Jayden might be running for his life, and, that's his blind side. So we know how skinny Jayden is and all these different things. And, yes, he can get away, and, he can get outside the pocket and run, and we know that Jayden can do that. But if he doesn't have a left tackle that's capable of blocking Micah Parsons and all these different extremely awesome edge rushers in this division, it's going to be tough, all right? So I definitely think that the offensive line as a whole just scares the living daylights out of me, just like it did last year. I mean, Brandon Coleman, you're hoping that he's going to be pretty solid. Andrew Wiley was one of the worst right tackles in football last year, but you're paying him too much money to put on the bench. Nick Allegretti was a backup for most of last season before he eventually came in and helped the Chiefs win a Super Bowl. So I love Allegretti, don't get me wrong. I love his mentality. I love his toughness. All that different stuff, but is he like a true starting guard in the league? I don't think we know that just yet. Tyler Biadasz, it's not like he's a top center. He's fine. And then Sam Cosmi is really the one rock on this offensive line that I feel really confident about. And it just feels like last season when we were going into the year where Sam Cosmi was the only guy I felt really confident about. And I tried warning everybody, man, this offensive line is going to stink and Sam Howell's going to be running for his life, and that's really going to affect how the Commanders can win football games. And then that's exactly what happened. So this is a similar feeling for me. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that multiple people on this offensive line really take a step forward, including Brandon Coleman here. But let me know down there in the comment section, how are you feeling about this offensive line for the Washington Commanders here? What grade would you give the Commanders starting offensive line right now? Give me a grade, A, B, C, D, or F. I think according to NFL standards right now, I think I can't give it anything better than a C-. Your two tackles are definitely not established. The guards are definitely, looking like Sam Cosmi's the only one that you can trust. Tyler Biadasz is fine, but he's far from a true rock in the center of your offensive line. So for me personally, guys, I'll probably give it a D compared to other NFL teams out there. But let me know how you're feeling about this offensive line. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now if you haven't already. We're going to be giving you guys more in-depth Commanders coverage 100% free throughout the week and throughout the weekend. So if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you click that subscribe button right now.